An answer by Republican Richard Mourdock in the Indiana Senate debate last night continues to be a talking point nationwide.
I struggled with it myself for a long time, but I came to realize life is that gift from God, and I think even when life begins in that horrible situation of rape, that it is something that God intended to happen.
In an interview with News 18 this afternoon, Mourdock makes no apologies, but he says he wishes he would have phrased it differently. Democratic candidate Joe Donnelly calls Mourdock's remark hurtful and insulting, but at least one woman is calling him a hero.
Do I wish that I had been more clear and there was greater clarity? Absolutely.
In a visit to Lafayette's Fairfield manufacturing facility Wednesday, the first questions for Republican Senate candidate Richard Mourdock have nothing to do with manufacturing. Instead, it is all about what he said Tuesday night. He's unapologetic, but tears up when saying his faith grows every day.
Part of my faith is to understand there's a need for humility. This has been a very humbling 22 hours or whatever it's been now. So again, for those people who misunderstood what I said, that I apologize. I certainly want to assure women that there is no room in my heart for any kind of violence, any kind of act, and I just against them. And I'm sorry that anyone construed anything out of it other than what I meant, which is life is precious.
Democratic Senate candidate Joe Donnelly responded to Mourdock's comments in front of an Indianapolis domestic violence shelter.
Let me say I am pro-life, but this controversy is not about pro-life. It is about Mr. Mourdock's words and his continuation of extreme positions.
Donnelly pointed out that both Republican candidates Mitt Romney and Mike Pence distanced themselves from Mourdock's words.
When you say, in regards to rape, that a pregnancy from rape is God's intention that it will happen, I just think that's hurtful and insulting to women, to rape survivors, and to the families.
Before the Lafayette trip, Mourdock spoke with the keynote speaker at Tuesday's Tippecanoe County Right to Life annual banquet.
There's nothing wrong with his position, that he would be a hero to children like me who are conceived in rape.
Pro-life attorney and spokesperson Rebecca Kiesling found out at age 19 that if abortion had been legal at the time, her mother would have aborted her. Using data from a 1996 study, she says there may be 32,000 rape-related pregnancies every year. And she adds, according to the Elliott Institute, a pro-life organization which studies abortion and sexual attitudes, in about 50% of abortion cases, the mother raises the child. In about 25%, the child is given up for adoption, and the other 25% are aborted.
I think that people don't realize that there are that many whose lives are being devalued by people who would suggest that they weren't worthy of protection. I think that his comment is being manipulated now by others.
Mourdock says knowing what he meant, he can't believe what he said created such controversy.
If you watch the videotape, I think my meaning was pretty clear. When you read the text of it, it sounds, I think, less clear.
Life is that gift from God, and I think even when life begins in that horrible situation of rape, that it is something that God intended to happen.